Hey, what's up, gang? It's March 30th. I'm filming this, but this won't be up until March 31st. This is going to be our first official art project class. Yesterday I put up the RTI enrichment cartoon drawing video, and that's available to watch on the arts link. When you go to the school website, you can see the arts link. Click on that, and then you can go ahead and find the day-to-day art projects that we'll be doing during our quarantine, located on the arts page right below the welcome link. So go ahead and check that out. Hopefully you guys have seen it through that link already, but if not, I'm hoping that the school will have a link to these videos on the actual work page for the teachers. But anyway, so today's art project, we're going to need a few things from around the house, and this is going to be kind of an around the house trying to find something to use project. What we are going to be using, hopefully you guys have it in-house, is we're going to be using some kind of thick material. I have my cereal. I mean, some of you guys should have cereal lying around the house. The box is what we need, not the actual cereal. So when you guys are done eating your food and you no longer need the actual package, you can use it for the project we're going to do today. Okay, so the reason why we're using the Frosted Mini or the cereal box is because it's nice and firm. Other things work as well. If you guys want to use, perhaps if you have made a cake, you can also use the box from the cake, or even macaroni. Now, I am not endorsing any of these products. I'm just grabbing what I could find around my kitchen. So macaroni noodles, it has a nice firm box. Although some boxes with pasta in it, I noticed is kind of thin and flimsy, and the pasta will shoot out the sides and whatnot when you purchase them. So those might not be the best for today's project, but definitely cake boxes and cereal boxes will work just fine. So what you want to do is make sure that the contents are done. Make sure mom and dad have already cooked the food or eaten the food inside already, or you guys have prepared the food already. And you're going to take the empty box and use the cardboard from the box. Okay. Some other supplies we'll need is we'll need our pencil, the one I broke from yesterday. We're going to need a pen. Sharpies are preferable if you have, because it's a nice dark and thick coating of ink, so that's a good one. An eraser in case we make mistakes. We're going to need a ruler today. If you don't have a ruler, you can use anything that has a straight edge, and a straight edge meaning like, say, Miss Del Aragon's coffee cup holder. It has a straight edge. It's made out of porcelain, but as long as it has a straight edge, okay, you can use that as a measuring, not a measuring, but a line tool, so the lines come out nice and straight. Yeah, you can use this to write. But remember, ask your parents before you use anything that wasn't meant to be used for art. That way they can, well, you should be supervised during these projects, hopefully, especially when we're using things like sharp things like scissors. So if you guys have scissors at home and you're not allowed to use them, wait for your parents to come home so that you can do this project and they can watch you to make sure that you guys don't get hurt. Okay, so these are some of the things you'll need. I also do have some other fun stuff in my box here. I'm not sure if you guys have any of these, but I have colorful pens. Okay, I don't know if you guys have any Crayola markers or anything at home, but if you don't, it's not a big deal. So once you have your empty container, what we're gonna do, see, mine is empty already. We just ate. Fast forward and ate all the stuff inside the box. It's all gone. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and peel open so that you can see right through the box. Hello. Okay, so go ahead and open that. The boxes have this seam here, and this seam you can actually tear open like you're opening a letter, and that separates it. And now you'll notice on the inside of the cereal box or the cake box you're using, it's going to be nice and blank. Now what's great about this cereal box is it has a spine. Let's measure this spine with my ruler. The spine is a bit big. It's 2¼ inch by 13.5 inches, or I'm sorry, 12.5 inches. So we don't need that much. What I wanted to measure out was 2 by 6. So what I can do is I can keep the width, because the width is acceptable. 2.25 inches is about similar to 2 inches, so we can leave that. But the length of it, I only want 6 inches. If you guys don't have a box like mine where it has a spine like 2 inches, then you're gonna have to measure it out on your own, and I'll do that for you right now on this side of the box. Okay, so using my pencil, I don't want to use the flaps because the flaps are really flimsy. I want to use this flat area here. This is a good nice area, and if I measure across, I notice that my box is about 7.5 inches wide. So what I want to do is I want to make a 2-inch. So I'm going to go ahead and measure from the top of my box using my ruler, and I'm going to mark at 2 inches. Now, if I want to make more than one project, because the project is going to be 2 inches by 6 inches, so if I want to make more than one, I can go ahead down the ruler and I can mark off at 4, because 2 doubled is 4, and if I add 2 to 4, that's 6. So I can put another mark on the 6, another mark on the 8, because that's 2 more than 6. 2 more than 8 is 10. 2 more than 10 is 12. And so now I have all these marks. Now what do I do with these marks? Well, you can't measure something across until you have 2 points. So we only have 1 point here. So I'm going to turn my box over. And once again, I am going to put my ruler against the side of my box. And I'm going to measure out 2 inches. So this time my ruler is facing the opposite direction. So now I have the 12 starting as my beginning number. So I'm just going to subtract 2 inches from 12. So 12 minus 2 is going to be 10. Put a mark. 10 minus 2 is going to be 8. Put a mark. 8 minus 2 is 6. Put a mark. 6 minus 2 is 4. Put a mark. 4 minus 2 is 2. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a mark on the 0. Alright, so now I have these 2 marks across from each other. Now I can take my ruler, and I can draw a line connecting the 2 marks all the way across, and I can go all the way down to the end where the other mark is. So just go ahead from one mark to the other, one mark to the other, one mark to the other. Let's see, and one mark to the other. Alright, so I have the length drawn out, as you can see, and I've got 2, 4, 6 separate lengths. So that means I can do 6 separate projects. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead, since I have the flap here creating a line of its own, I don't have to draw another line on that. I already know I can cut along this flap and it'll create the edge, but I don't want my project being too long. I only want it to be 6 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure 2 marks again. Let me move this on the side, it's blocking. Alright, so I'm going to measure from one side to the other only 6 inches. Now I'm going to use this side here as my border. So I'm going to start there, put the ruler absolute 0 on the fold, the crease, and then I measure all the way up to the 6, and I put a mark on top of the 6. I'm going to do the same thing all the way at the top of my box here. I'm going to measure from the inside spine going out to the flap, and I'm going to measure once again 6 inches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to put a mark right on top of 6, okay? And now that I have those 2 marks, I can line my ruler up so that it's touching both marks. See that? So here's one mark here, here's the other mark here. I'm going to line up my ruler with those 2 marks. It just makes it edge to edge. And then I'm going to go ahead and draw a line right across. And now I have the part that I'll be cutting out. So basically, I'm not going to be using any of this stuff here that I'm marking. I'm not going to be using any of this stuff over here that I'm marking. And I'm not going to be using any of this stuff. All this stuff is all rubbish, okay? Alright, so next step, is I'm going to take my scissors, and with the power and the magic of the internet, it's going to be ta-da. Okay, so I cut out the outside of the box. I do have more of the box remaining. I can use the other half of the box to create even more, but just in case this is not a project that I'm really particularly interested in, I'm not going to waste my time. One is enough. So all I need to do now is I just need to separate, cutting right on the line. Make sure you don't go over the line because you don't want to mess up your shape, because we are making these 6 by 2 inch rectangles. Let's not say triangles today. Okay, so one is good, but I wanted to make a few for this video. Because I want to show you different styles we can do. Okay. All right. So, like I said, if you guys aren't allowed to use scissors at home, you guys are too young, then please have your parent or guardian or whoever takes care of you accompany you while you do these art projects. I should put an asterisk next to videos that require adult supervision. That's kind of cool. If you want, mom and dad can also participate in these projects too, and you guys can see the difference between adult work, and you guys can see adult difference between your work and the adults' work, and how much pride your parents take in their skills and their work, and you can see what you can aspire to. So that you can, your parents can be a better role model for you, because when they go to work and when you go to school, you don't get to see them doing what they do for a living, and this is a great way for you guys to see your parents go at it. Alright, so anyway, let's move these on the side. We don't need these for now. Excuse me. Only need one. Alright, so what are we going to do with these today? So these pieces are going to be used for creating something which you guys should be all doing during the quarantine. You guys should all be reading. Okay, so we are going to be using these as bookmarks. I mean, if you want, you could be done and you say, yep, finished my bookmark, there you go, I'm finished my art project. But why stop there? Why waste your time with a perfectly good piece of blank paper that you can draw on? Okay? Alright. So, what we can do is we can take this piece of cardboard, and I'm going to start off just like how we do at school, with the different principles of art. And the first thing that we normally do in the principles of art is, can you guess? Line. Okay? Lines are the beginning of our drawing, so that's what we're going to start with. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it interesting. I'm not just going to put straight lines going across. I mean, you can if you want to, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make diagonal lines, and I'm going to space them about 1.5 inches apart, and it's going to be a pattern. Okay, so I'm just working with lines just like that. Alright, and then what I'm going to do is I am going to add a second line in between each line, and this one's going to be a wavy line. Alright, wavy line, and I'm going to skip, and I'm going to do a wavy line on the next one like that. You guys don't have to copy the lines that I'm doing, but if you want to, you can. Alright, the middle one and the two outside ones, these are going to be a zigzag line, kind of like shark teeth. Go ahead and put a couple of zigzags there, and zigzag there. Alright, so there we have it. And you guys can see it. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 diagonal lines, 2 wavy lines, and zigzags that are filling in the middle of those other 2 lines. Yeah. Now from here, you don't want to just leave the pencil's graphite. You want to use the Sharpie pen to color over, or should I say trace over, these lines so that when you close your book, the graphite doesn't stick to the page when you open it. So what you want to do is either grab a Sharpie that's thin, or you can grab a Sharpie that is thicker. I like the thicker one, but sometimes it's nice to even alternate between both of them. So let's go with the thick line first. The thick pen. We're just gonna go ahead and draw right over the graphite. Rump. 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 And rump. Just like that. Okay, you get to your thinner one, and if you want, you can even add lines along those thick lines as well. Double them up. Cool. You can see it. Let's get closer there. Huh? You see that? So I did the thick line and the thin line, so you guys can see the difference between both of those lines. Okay, these middle lines, the wavy and the zigzags, have not been marked over yet, so I'm just going to go ahead and womp, womp, and yep, sound effects while you draw. Awesome. There we go. Alright, so there we have our lines. You can add more if you'd like. Like I said before, you can take, if you have the ability to use a thick and a thin pen, you can add a secondary line that traces around it, or should I say that copies or echoes the previous line that you made. But this is your own personal project, so you can do whatever you like, whatever kinds of lines you want, whatever kinds of design you want. Okay, so there's our line design. I'm pretty happy with that. That's pretty neat. Okay, so our second bookmark is going to be what happens when you connect the lines, and when you connect the lines, they make what? Shapes. Okay, so shapes is the next thing. Moving our work to the side, grabbing out my pencil. I always liked the konane shape, which is a typical Hawaiian design. Konane is a game that was played in Hawaii before the arrival of the British, and it is still played today. But back in the day, they used to play on tables that were made of lava rock, and they would use lava pieces as well as coral pieces to play the game. And it was kind of like checkers, where you would jump your stones over the other person's to defeat them. Okay, so the konane shape are squares, and I'm trying my best to make sure that these stay square-like. Alright, so basically all I did was I just drew just a bunch of squares, lines going vertical and horizontal. That's it. Alright, now when I take my marker, I'm going to use my thin marker for this one. Okay, and if you want, if you have a ruler, if you have a straight edge, you can use it to help you make your line straight, but things always look better when you eyeball it and draw it by hand. I always thought it gives it a little bit more personality. When everything is like super straight and super conformed, then it's a little too mechanical. Unless that's what you're trying to do, you're trying to like do architecture or draw robots, then that's cool. Okay, so I've outlined all of my lines. Now what you can do, if you have, like I said earlier, if you have colored pens, or if you have colored crayons, or if you have colored pencils, what you can do is you can actually color in every other box I'm just going to use my thick Sharpie. That way you guys can see how the Konane board looks. So basically, it's like a checkerboard, but you cannot color every single square in. You have to make sure that it's every other. So if I color in this square here, that means these two squares that are side by side, that are touching its edges, have to be the opposite color. Okay, so if this is black, I'm going to leave this the color of the cardboard, or you can color it a different color if you want to. So that means this one here would have to be colored in. So I'm just going to go ahead and color these in real fast, and you'll see how fast Mr. D can move as you watch me color. Alrighty, so that is awesome. See how fast that work was done? Took like a few seconds. Yeah. Not bad, huh? Okay. So the last one, I was thinking, what happens when you combine line and shape together? They create what? They create form. So you put lines and shapes together, you get a form. And that's what we can do today. We can put a form on top of these strips. So there's another tool you guys can use, and that's a cell phone. I'm going to use my cell phone today to look up some pictures that I can put on some forms, and I'm going to choose a few. Okay, so here's a character some of you may or may not know. Let's turn on the brightness so you guys can actually see it inside the camera up here. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw my character on top of my bookmark, because I want to personalize it to my taste, and these are the books that I like to read, so I'm gonna put the characters that I like up on it. If you like Harry Potter, you can put Harry Potter. You can even write Harry Potter's name going across, or heck, you can even put your own name. So personalize it the way you want to. So we're gonna put some lines and shapes together, and we are going to form some forms that we like on top of our own bookmarks. Okay, so here's my first picture. I know it's probably a little difficult to see, but there's my fly guy. Then I go ahead, oh, maybe I want to put a dog man on there too. That's cool. I'll put a dog man too. Let's see. His face kind of looks like a whistle. You see a little nose there, a couple of ears sticking out, trapezoid hat, a couple of lines for the eyes, and a big smile coming up. Trapezoid t-shirt, triangle arms, both sides. And he's got these number 3s, fingers, a couple of rectangular legs, and ovals for feet. And on top of his shirt, he's got what looks like a tulip. Yeah. So there we have our second picture of the dog man. And I kind of like this dude. This dude is a little funny. So his head is a circle, his neck is a rectangle, his body is a semicircle, and his legs are typical of stick drawing figures. His beak is 2 triangles side by side, one bigger than the other. His eyeball. Okay, all right. So I have 3 book characters on top of my bookmark, and taking my pen, I'm going to go ahead and outline all my graphite. Okay, so I basically did the thick pen. I used the thick pen for the outline, and I'm going to use a thinner pen, since I have 2, for my details. Alright, so I have all 3 of my characters outlined and ready for coloring. So if you guys have crayons, colored pencils, or pens, colored pens, you guys can go ahead and color in those figures and all those characters that you just drew. In the background, you can also add things that you think would be cute. You can put hearts, just kind of floating behind your forms. These are just shapes that are just randomly floating places. You can put little rhombus, little triangles, just random shapes. It fills in the blank areas with some fun movement. Okay. You can also use lines, squiggly lines, like the confetti. So we're combining all three elements, which are the principles, which are the lines, shapes that equal the forms. And then once you are done with your work, then you can use them as a bookmark to mark your space when you're done reading. Okay, so that's today's art project. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned. We'll have more coming up. All right, take care, guys. Don't forget, stay clean, wash your hands. If you're not feeling well, stay in your room. All right, gang. See you next time.